Welcome to the Business Breakthrough Series. I'm your host, Izzy Nally, and today's presentation is Vision to Victory. We're talking about how to manifest your business goals. Now, in this presentation, I'm pulling out some aspects of one of my very first trainings, which I absolutely love. It was my goal getter training. And when I was doing Goal Getter, I was being asked to speak. I was speaking in front of hundreds of people. I would often speak at universities, speaking to students and how to really set their goals. I feel like this is definitely one of my zones of genius, and I'm so happy and excited to share today with you. So let's talk about how to set goals, but not just that, but really how to have the vision for the goals and how to manifest your business goals. All right, let's get started. So just something you need to know, like this is definitely an aspect of the business mindset. I love learning business mindset, and some of us do and some of us don't. So some of us are like, I don't want to talk about the mindset. I just want the actionable steps. Well, we are going to cover actionable steps today. So don't worry, we're not excluding that. But mindset is such a huge component of anything we do. And I know a lot of people are speaking about mindset, but to undervalue or to put it off as a side note, then one, either you don't have a lot of fears or doubts or anything like that. So maybe this isn't a huge aspect that you need to work on. But if you find yourself being hesitant at all to do something, or when you do it, people aren't receiving it the way that you had hoped, or you're showing up and things just aren't happening the way that you expected them to, then mindset is definitely something that you need to work on. And I find we all have minds, and our minds are what are telling us to do and not to do things. Therefore, we need to be very present and aware of our mindset. Now, today I do want to focus on the fact that 33% of people, no, let me rephrase that. People who write down their goals or talk about their goals with an accountability person have a 33% higher success rate than those who don't. So we need to mention that, because just writing down your goals and tracking your goals and paying attention to them, that alone, you'll have a 33% success rate. Now, when you stack working with an accountability partner, that's an additional 33%. So we want more success, then these simple little aspects are definitely something that you need to be implementing. Today, as we dive into how to really go from vision to victory, we're going to cover 4 core areas for today's presentation. We're looking at understanding the difference between business manifestation and just manifestation. We're also going to look at setting clear intentions, aligning our actions with the visions, and how to overcome those obstacles, because let's be real. If you have set goals and you didn't accomplish them in the past, it was probably because something came up. And we can plan for those things that are going to come up, especially the ones that we can predict. And yes, you can. There are certain things, especially if you have found yourself messing up a goal or not completing a goal or getting distracted from a goal, then these are the things that we can address, and we're going to talk about those today. So let's look at number 1, understanding the difference between just wishful thinking and actual goals. Wishful thinking are things that are continuously replaying in our mind, the things that we need to do, that we feel we have to do, but we're not necessarily writing them down. We are not creating a plan to actually make those happen. And I need to state this because I do this a lot and I have to catch myself and have these conversations with myself. I see this happen with a lot of people too, is saying that you're going to do something and we're putting it in future tense, or we're putting it in wishful tense, that we are just thinking about it as a possibility, that we are not really taking it and going, I'm going to make this happen. This tenacity is the word that I really love to use. This, I want it and I'm going to make it happen. It is taking it out of just thinking and putting it into action. Now, what's the difference between having business goals and then manifesting business goals? This is where we bring together the hybrid of manifesting and the techniques for that, as well as the business goal planning aspects. If you really truly are a goal getter, please write in the chat, goal getter. If you are one, you are constantly establishing goals, you are constantly working on making them happen, you understand that mindset is important, you also understand that the project plan is important, then you are a goal getter. Type goal getter in the chat, because we really do need to keep reminding ourselves of these things. Just knowing this, and there are layers of knowing. There are layers of knowing. We can surface level know something, we can deeply know something, and then when you hear the same message presented in a slightly different way and something clicks in a different way and you feel it in your heart of knowing, that's what we really want to shift into today, of knowing what steps to take in order to really truly make it come true. Now, if you're clicking on this and you're like, I want to make my goals come true, or I have this goal, but I'm just not ready. I have this goal, but I'm not sure if I'm ready. Then you are in the wishful thinking, and there is an aspect about you, and this is where that mindset comes into play. And when I say mindset is such a broad topic. I do understand that. There is a spiritual level, a self-love level as well. There is a believing you are enough, believing you are worthy. And that is one of those phases that we have to go through to move it out of wishful thinking and into business goals. And we will continue to touch on this. And I find that hypnotherapy is the fastest way to get yourself into action. But action is a necessity. And that first action is what we're talking about today. That first action is taking it from wishful thinking into actually starting the planning. So when we move out of wishful thinking and into planning, we start with setting clear intentions. And when we set clear intentions, it's not just, I can see it, right? It's not just, I see it. I can see it happening. We have to even move out of that. And so we start to make our vision even more robust so that we can feel it in our entirety. To feel it into your entirety. So let's go into this even deeper as we say, let's feel this. So who does this benefit? A scene that I often use within visualization meditations to help you with this is to first start with visualizing this future life that you want. Because your goals that you currently have need to not be separate. And we're going to go into this more in aligning the actions. But those goals that you have need to not be separate from your overall big vision dream. Your intentions. What are your intentions, your values, your visions, your hopes, your dreams, your passions, your desires in life? Let's look at that. So I want to make sure that you can hear me. So if you can hear me, go ahead and say hello. I'm just checking and making sure this is on. Okay, good. All right. So who does this benefit? Start with visualizing yourself. Let's just go ahead and dive into it. So take a moment. You can close your eyes or look down. So maybe you're in a spot where you can't close your eyes. If you're driving, don't do this while you're driving. Just listen. But if you're in a spot where you can close your eyes or look down, and start with really tuning into your heart. And so if you have a harder time visualizing this, then we need to get into a relaxed state so that we can. So just breathing, feel the in, feel the out. Feel the in, feel the out. Now take this breath even deeper. Start to feel the start of the inhale, end of the inhale. Start of the exhale, end of the exhale. And as we're here, we're going deeper. We're going within. As we go within, I invite you to visualize from a deeper level, and you can do this exercise later too. From a deeper level, where do you want to be? Ultimate goal. I can wave my magic wand. You could be anywhere in the world, living, being, doing. Where do you want to be? Maybe you are on a beach. Maybe you are in a forest. Maybe you are in a beautiful house. Anywhere you want to be. Mission trips, traveling, anywhere you want to be. Maybe it's this feeling of a Thanksgiving dinner. Anywhere you want to be. And as you're there, notice who you want around you, surrounding you, with you. And as you visualize who's around you, who's with you, you can also eliminate anyone that you don't want there. This is just a visualization. Notice what you're doing. Notice who you're being. Notice how you're thinking. Notice how you're interacting with the people around you and the overall feelings and emotions that you want present there. It could be what you're talking about, what you're thinking about, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing. Now take this in because these are clues. These are clues that if you're by a beach, like maybe it is you need more water and being around water. And these are okay things because this future that we want, who we're around, this feelings, these are all important. If these are the things that we're working towards, then let's reverse this and pretend that we're rewinding the tape and we're seeing what has led you to be there. What has led you to being there? Noticing this person, this you that has had these desires, these goals put on you, put on your heart. And a desire can first be placed, acknowledgement, awareness. Oh, I have this desire. Why? Not why you received it, but why is this important? We don't need to understand why it's our desire. We don't have to understand that, but we need to understand who is it going to benefit? How is this a priority? What is the motivation? How am I going to keep myself motivated for this? Normally, it's just taking time to tune back into this visualization. What habits does that future me have versus where I am now? And what is the gap in between? How can I keep myself grounded into this? I am a true believer that your desires, your goals, your dreams, when we reduce the ones that have been placed on us from external in this world, such as I think I have to do this because my parents make me feel like I need to do this. But the ones that have truly weighed on you, the ones that maybe you don't tell people about, maybe that you do tell people about, that are truly weighing on you. I've wanted to be a writer for as long as I can remember. It's all the doubts and the things that are coming in and the choices of which book to write. Those are all the things, but those are not, universal, divine is the word I'm looking for. Divine. Doubt is not divine. Doubt is ego. And ego can also be referred to a lot of times as Satan or Kabbalah as Satan. Like doubt is our humanness. Desire is our divineness that is placed on us. And it's amazing the people I've talked to when I first got into this world, and I would ask people what their regrets were in life. People wouldn't come to me until they had already retired and things like this. And they would suddenly bring it up in conversation what their regrets were. And their regrets were always not pursuing the things that were on their heart, from avoiding it, doubting it, prolonging it, procrastinating it, avoiding it. Those were their regrets. So we need to ask ourselves, what are those things that have just been placed on our heart, nagging us, pursuing us, and they won't go away? Maybe that is your business goals. Maybe you're not accomplishing your business goals because there's all these other things that you want to do, but you don't feel like you can do them. We need to get rooted into these goals, into our vision, get really clear on our intention. So as we come into our goal, and let's say we've brought in all of these aspects, and now we ask ourselves, if I'm the only one that benefits, is the universe going to really help me? Well, sure. But if I can benefit and others can benefit, and this makes a bigger domino rolling, expanding effect, imagine who I can invite in to help me with this. So if it can benefit more and we just get to play a part, our motivation will also become bigger because the self-doubt comes in less. Because it's not about us, it's about them. Getting really clear about this, and I strongly encourage you that every single day, multiple times a day, to sit into this vision. It only takes about 3 minutes. You can do longer sessions if you need, but to take 3 minutes and just tap into this vision. And the more you do it, it can literally happen in seconds because you've done it so often that you can just tap into it. The more you can tap into your vision and your intentions, the more you will be grounded and rooted into it. And you will focus on the future tense. Focus on the future tense. So we focus on the future tense. We are stepping into that energy. We're stepping into being that person. If we are focusing from the present or past, we haven't done it yet. We haven't done it yet, and we will be in the doubt because imposter syndrome, that's what I'm trying to think of. Imposter syndrome comes from thinking of past and present. I can't do this. Well, no, because you haven't done it yet. But if you do it and you start working on it, now I've done it once. Now I'm gaining the experience. This is what I have to do. I have to take that action to become that future version and functioning from future self. Now, aligning with our actions and vision. So we've talked about this vision and the values and everything that comes along with it. This is where we get into more of this tactical approach, but we still want to keep this spiritual approach as well. We want to reverse engineer our goals, as I had already started saying. If you have a 5 or 10 year goal and you can work backwards, it becomes a lot easier. Now this is what I used to speak about, and we would do these meditations and we would reverse engineer and go, okay, let's do this right now. What do you want to accomplish in 10 years? In 10 years, where do you want to be? You don't have to know all the details. Let's just start. So in 10 years, think about, okay, in 10 years from now, how old will you be? How old will the people in your life be? Because sometimes that plays an impact. Me thinking, how old is Willow going to be? How old is Leo and Nova going to be? What is going to be happening around that time of life? And then I get to choose what I also want that to look like. Not just for me, but what do I want that to look like in my container of how I can support them as well? Is it that I want to have X amount of money or X amount of a success or X amount of accomplishments? In 10 years from now, I want to have written 10 books. In 10 years from now, I want to have these businesses are successful and they're having this. This is the vision. And as we have that vision, keep writing. You can come back to this if you need to too. As we have that, now we then say, here's the 10-year mark. What would be the halfway mark of that? Now, it doesn't have to be the exact. So if I'm like, hey, I've written 10 books in 10 years, the halfway mark does not have to be 5 books. The halfway mark might be 3 books, and then the momentum picks up and carries. So your halfway mark, and as far as the energetic momentum. So then write down your halfway mark. This would be your 5-year plan. So 10 years, and now we've got our 5-year. We're going to keep doing this. So now you have your 5-year, or just the halfway. Now we're going to say, what is the half-year mark, or the halfway mark of that 5-year list? Don't look at the 5-year part, just look at that list. Okay, well, if I've written 3 books at that mark, then the halfway mark of that is going to be 1 book is completed and half of another book is completed. Okay? Then keep going that with each thing on your list. That would be your, what are we looking? We're going to say 3-year mark. Now from that, the halfway point of that. Okay, if I've written 1.5 books at the 3-year mark, the halfway mark of that, I'm going to say is 1 book. 1 book. Okay. And now you can have multiple things on there. I'm just using the book as an example. That's going to be my 1 year. We're going to keep going. Halfway of that, I would say the book is halfway done, right? Halfway of that. So we just went to 6 months. Now we're going to 3 months. Now you have your 3-month plan, which is a 12-week plan. We just got to our 12-week plan. We have our actionable goals for the next 3 months that are leading into a trajectory, a direction towards a 10-year goal. Can your goals shift and pivot? Yes, but I caution you, and I really invite you to keep tapping back into that 10-year goal, not tapping into changing your 3, 6, 1, 5-year goals. I encourage you to refine your 10-year goal and then continue to work backwards. If we start trying to revision our immediate or temporary goal, we are not working from a big picture. We must work from the bigger picture. And yes, please keep tapping into that 10-year vision. Keep tapping into it. Keep refining it. Keep making it more elaborate. Keep tuning into it so that it feels amazing and so possible, no matter how big it is. But please do not function from the 3-year or the 5-year. Function from the 10-year. And yes, of course, is it going to evolve and change and shift only for the better, especially as you get to the 3-year and the 5-year mark. But another exercise that you can do even more to deepen that 10-year is to sit in meditation and imagine you are that person in 10 years. And we're just using these 10 years, 5 years, all of this as just a frame to work within. You can collapse time and make that 10-year happen in 3 or 5. We are only using this as a framework, not a limitation. So you can function and imagine yourself in that 10-year, which really is just the big picture, is the ultimate goal. I just use 10 because it gives us a place to think from. And imagine you are that version of you sitting in meditation, imagining the next big goal. If they were imagining their 10-year goal. And then begin to function as a more elaborate 10-year goal so that because you are going to change and evolve throughout this entire process. So when I say 10-year, that's a reference point. But really, this is your big picture amazing. Anything is possible. This is as big as you can currently think. And then to sit as that person and think even bigger, what would the goals of that version of you be having? And so that's why I invite you to continue to tap into this big picture goal, this vision. This is your vision. Now, you can have a vision for your life, and within your vision of your life, you might also be listing out the vision of your business or businesses. But list those out separate and then bring it back and how you fit in. So this helps us really start to imagine the 12 weeks from right here. What are my 3-month goals that are tying me to, and will continue to elaborate? So that we have actionable steps, so that we can list these down and you can continue to further break down those 3-month goals. However, I'm going to show you a process that I really like to do and saying, okay, this is what I want to accomplish, but we need to say like, what is actually possible right here in the now. So we start to double check ourselves, and we also need to plan for the obstacles too. All right. So as we dive in a little deeper, and we want to plan for overcoming obstacles, we need to know what distractions are going to show up. So if you have had goals in the past and had visions in the past, but your relationship with self and your belief in yourself has been slightly damaged, or that relationship is a little hindered because you've failed yourself, you've not completed the promises that you've made to yourself in the past, we are going to use that knowledge to heal in the moment, to list down what distractions, what have gotten in our ways, and we're going to give ourselves our power back by planning for those possibilities. And we're going to use this if this, then that, and we're going to use this to our advantage. So instead of future planning and limiting ourselves, we're going to use this to plan for the distractions. Let me explain. A lot of times in life, people will say, well, when I do this, then I can do that. And we're using it as a limitation for our goals. We're going to release that. And we're going to say, if this distraction comes up, then I'm going to do this instead. That's how this becomes empowering. So for example, I love to watch, and I use Netflix, but as a general term, I love to watch series, and I like to binge watch series. This is generally my big distraction. The distraction is I'm tired and I want to do something that takes my mind off of all of the busy humdrum, the constant goal getting. We all need fun. We all need a release, but it doesn't have to be a distraction. Watching series and sitting in front of a TV by myself is a distraction. It is an avoidance. It is a numbing out so that I don't have to always be in one energy. That is a normal thing. So we also need to plan for fun because we cannot always be in go, go, go. So we're going to plan for fun. So in order to eliminate my constant desire to want to sit in front of a TV, I probably need to plan 2 fun nights where I am letting go. Right? Because what I'm really wanting is fun distraction. So I would say, what's fun for me? I love to go dancing. I love to get out and let loose. So I'm then going to put on my task list in order to prepare for the next 3 months and probably going forward. I need 1 to 2 nights of dancing. Now, dancing could be Zumba. It could be going out to a salsa lesson. It could be lots of things. So I could list down some ideas for that. And then I'm going to go find them. And this is where I'm setting myself up for success. Setting myself up for success so that I can be preventative. Now, as far as if I have the desire to sit and watch TV, what can I do instead? Well, first, I could sit and meditate. Ooh, I just grabbed the remote. That means that's the trigger for sit down and meditate and read my vision that I wrote down. So if I grab the remote, I am then going to sit into my vision. I will sit into my vision, and I could either, one, just go to bed. I could continue to meditate. I could then work on something, because that will probably pivot me into reminding me of my goals. You could use that. We can also use this for health and wellness. Rather than reaching for a cupcake or a muffin, I'm going to grab a whole grain piece of toast and put peanut butter on it and some chia seeds. That's my go-to morning. So if I reach for this, then I will grab this instead. Okay, so this is how we start to use this. We need to list down all the things that distract us. It might be all of the habits that are not helping you get to your goal. Now, I have a lovely spreadsheet that I use for this next part, where just planning. I list out each and every week. So I list out week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and so on to week 12. Then I put the dates on each side. Sometimes distractions can be holidays or birthdays or events that are coming up or additional things that we have on the calendar. Not as in a bad way for distractions, but it's going to distract us from staying on point with the goal. It's going to limit our time and our effort on our goal. So I have a column to list out any holidays or events. Then I have a column with any promotions or any other projects that I have going on. And then I have 3 main goals for the week. 3 main goals that are subtasks of my weekly accomplishments that I want to accomplish at the end of this 12 weeks. This helps me in the planning process to go, did I put way too much on my plate for this 12 weeks? Or are there actions that will move the needle more than others? All right. Do I need to send an email once a week? Do I need to have a launch? Do I need to, and start to really look at that way. All right. So I think you've got the general idea. I've given you a pretty big framework. Let's open it up for Q&A. So do you have any questions? Do you have any specific examples that you would like us to work through? All right, I'm going to leave up the Q&A. Feel free to go ahead and drop those in while you're thinking up your questions and while you're typing them in. I'm just going to talk about the Goal Getter program and how I have a 12-week, well, it's a little bit more than 12 weeks, but I have a special for you. So creating your 12-week plan. It takes time to plan for the 12-week plan, especially when it's something new. So I'm offering a special of having 3 starter sessions for only $35 each. Now, I normally charge around $200 per session. So getting these 3 sessions you could use this to say, I'm going to try out Izzy and see if I want to continue to work with her more. Or it could be, I really need this so that I can just do the 12-week plan on my own. I'm offering you these 2 options where you don't even have to work with me. You can just use me for these 3 weeks to get everything straight. Now, let me show you, and yes, keep typing in questions. I'm going to show you what we're going to work on during those 12 weeks, or during those 3 weeks to prepare for your 12 weeks. In session 1, we will identify your heart desires, create a list of your top goals, and then map out that 12-week plan. So we're going to look at the big, just like we did, work through that with you. I write everything down so that you don't have to worry about it. I'm a great note taker. On session 2, then we'll start to identify any blocks, the emotions that are coming up, because what happens is we're creating that 12-week plan and a couple days go by, a week goes by, however soon you want to link these together, the doubts start coming in. The emotions start coming in. All the things that are going to prevent you are going to come in. And you're going to use that time too to actually list these out so that you can prepare in advance. Now on week 3, we actually start the 12-week plan. And I do this because that first week, you're going to get a good sense to pivot, adjust, or refine if this is actually possible. Because you're going to dive into that first week and you're going to notice as you're taking action, what mindset blocks are coming up. What hiccups are coming up that I didn't plan for. How do I adjust? How do I pivot without giving up? So as we dive into this, I want you to have everything that you need to accomplish your goals. After you do your first 12 weeks, it is generally a lot easier to keep pursuing the 12 weeks. If you'd like support during that 12 weeks, we'll talk about that if you want to at your third session. But before your third session, or before then, right now is the time to ask some questions. Now, if you would like the link to get started, just put an S in the chat and I'll get you that link for your sessions, or you can send me a DM. I like the link because I can go back and check. Sometimes my DMs get buried. Other than that, this is here live or replay. Ask the questions and I will get you the answers. If you're like, Izzy, I'm struggling to even have my big vision, that's okay. I'm really good at helping people dream big. It's one of my favorite things. It's something I'm really good at. In fact, when I do hypnotherapy sessions, we spend an entire session just working on dreaming big so that I know exactly what you want so that we can overcome that during the session as the therapeutic part. And then we move into like rewiring. Now, if you work with me in the 12 weeks, you do get a hypnotherapy session as well. So we've got our 3 starter sessions, and then we've got diving into the support of accomplishing your goals. All right, that is it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. I love to hear what your biggest takeaway was. What was most valuable? What was it that you really needed to hear today? All right. And I will see you next week. So next week, we're talking about business and communication. I'm looking for my notes. Communicate to captivate is next week. And we are talking about the business messaging and how we are communicating out our goals and communicating out our mission and vision. This is the Business Breakthrough Series. These are the things that we need. We need this. These are the things that have hindered me from every time I've gotten into a program where they gave me the actionable steps and I thought my mindset was good. Then I'd get into the program and then these were the things that I really, truly needed support with. These were the things where I was getting choked up and hung up on. These are the things that if you are not hitting your goals, if you're not pursuing your goals, if you are not accomplishing and feeling success, that we really need to talk about, that we need to work on. Because the truth is, every one of us, success is defined differently. It's so important that we even just celebrate the wins along the way. Sometimes we need someone to help us with that too. That as we understand our definition of success and things that we'll talk about is like, what's your definition of done so that you can celebrate it? Do you have a reward planned for when you do celebrate it? Or are you just rewarding yourself all the time and you're not even allowing yourself to really celebrate? So there's a lot here. There's a lot to this. There's a lot to accomplishing your goals. It's so simple, but it's all the layers that we need to peel back as we are accomplishing them. It's all of our minds and the layers that's stacked on top of our pureness, our perfectness, our highest self. So in the effort to become your highest self, we need to practice functioning from that vision of our highest self or the highest self that's available to us now. And that starts with doing this work. So please do not just watch this and leave it there, because I can tell you things you already know, but there's a difference between knowing and doing. There's a difference between knowing and doing. And so many of us, our biggest struggle is just not doing the things that we're already preaching. So make sure that you do practice what you preach. All right, I'm going to go work on mine now. All right, I'll see you next week as we continue the Business Breakthrough Series. I'm Izzy Nally, your business therapist, and I look forward to working with you, whether we just work here in the chat or we work together in actual sessions. All right, I'll see you later.